Well, as another beautiful and glorious blessed day comes to an end, I realized I spoke to you guys earlier about this post 911 20-year celebration that they just got finished going through, all the hoopla surrounding that. But guess what? I forgot to introduce myself. I would like to introduce to you Dr. Deidre Mott. I am no longer Deidre Singleton. I am no longer Miss Singleton. I am no longer Deidre Gail Mott Singleton. I am no longer Deidre Gail Singleton. In 2019, before my degree was conferred and before I completed my dissertation, I made a conscious effort to retake my birth name. I took my dad's name again, and I am now Dr. Mott since May 2020. I got my degree conferred last year. I took my name back in 2019. And I did make, I decided and made a conscious effort to keep that name because I wanted to not change my name, get rid of that old raggedy name. I didn't want to change my name until my youngest child became an adult. And Terrence became an adult. He reached the age of maturity, 18 years old, in 2017. So I held on to the old raggedy name for another few years because I wanted to make sure that I didn't change it until I got ready to get that degree. Because I want to make sure I wasn't getting that degree in the Singleton name. There's already been a Dr. Singleton. Now there's a Dr. Mott. But anyway, that was just something that I decided that I forgot to tell you, and I thought I should. But since I'm on here chit-chatting, I guess I don't know what to say. I don't have any script. I just want to talk. Just because I just think that if you ever want to see who I am, I don't know what the heck. I did get out here and say a few words. Maybe one day you want to hear. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But you know the thing is, if it's there, what they used to say, it's better to need and not have than have and not need. So if you want the information, if you want to ever see who I am or get some information about what I was about, what I was thinking, I don't know what you want to talk about. I can just talk about me. I don't want to talk about, but the information is out there. It's on the World Wide Web. Nobody else is interested, I'm sure. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else but y'all, my children. I think I would love to have had information and see videos of my great-grands talking about their lives and what they've been through and some of the changes and all that other kind of stuff. It was interesting. I mean, sure, times have changed. Times are different. Everybody goes through their own little struggles in life, and everybody, you adapt and overcome. You be the best that you can be, and then once you check out, you check out. But most of the time, you just try and do better for your kids than the parents, the people before you did for you. And so far, along my life's journey, along my lineage, that's the way it's been. Every generation did better for the next generation, not only materialistically, but also in the social realm. We all were able to stand on the shoulders of the people before us to reach our goals. I never would have been able to conquer my dreams and capture my dreams and be all I can be if I didn't have the support and the sacrifices of those who came before me. Unfortunately, my young, they got catapulted back like 3 or 4 generations. They didn't just go back to like my parents' time, like my mom and dad with the, what they call it, the Jim Crow and the segregation. See, my parents lived through that. They lived through Jim Crow, segregation, all that. And then I guess my grandma and them was back in like the sharecropping and all that. I don't know my history, but back, so I'm thinking my kids went back like not 1, not 2, but maybe 3 or 4 generations. They're going back to the day when people took kids away from their families and they sold them in slavery. You know, because you could be walking past my kids, they could be walking past their cousins on the street, and they wouldn't even know that's their blood relative. Not only that, they could just be passing by me. I could be walking along the street, passing them young, they wouldn't even know it's me. Yes, I probably wouldn't even know it's them because they're grown, they're mature now. But you know, that's the way it was back in the day when they took people and sold them as a slave. You know, that's one of the first things Reggie showed me when we went to Charleston, South Carolina. You won't go down. You won't go down to the slave market. Why? What for? I don't know, but we went. Saw the shackles and where the people used to hang and be sold. Why is that a thing? You know, I guess that's the difference between the North and the South. I really don't know. But that wouldn't be a trip I want to have, go down to the slave market. But you know, we went. And I was oohed and ahhed. Because, I mean, that was the thing. I was in the South. What they say, when you're in Rome, you do like the Romans do. I was in the South. That was his thing. He wanted me to see the slave market. So we went. But anyway, so that was that. We did that thing. What else can I talk about? I don't know. We could talk. Maybe I just turn the thing off because I got nothing to say. I don't want to talk too much about everything that went on about the choices that I made along the way because I can talk about that all day. But I want to be a little bit more light this time and just say, you know, I can talk about my reflection. You know, you always talk about how you interpret the world and see things because, you know, their world is comedy. This world, the things that we do and see and the choices that we make, I just don't understand how some of these people, you know, when you watch these reality shows, that was a reality check for me. Because, you know, when you grow up in a family and everybody singing Kumbaya and everybody gets along, and you go around your relatives and everybody, you know, kind of coddling and protecting each other and, you know, word is bond and all that kind of stuff. You know, back in the day, you exchange sandals and stuff. And so that's what you believe and that's what you think the world is all about. But then you watch these reality shows and you see these people they say words come out of their mouth. And then 2 seconds later, like in the next phase, they going back on their word. You know, I'm talking about that, like that Big Brother. They be making these alliances and stuff, and they telling people to their face, looking at them in the face, saying, "Yeah, I got you covered. Don't you worry about it." Knowing, you know, because they go in that little diary room and they talk about stuff, and they're like, "Well, you know, I know I made that deal, but I'm not gonna keep it." And so I was like, you know what? That's the way people do things. Maybe that's why I got caught up in this mess. You know, because I believe the words that was coming out of people's mouth. I mean, I was going to say I'm not gullible, but I think I am a bit gullible. I was a bit naive, you know, but I'm not gullible to a point where, like, I believe everything anybody say. I believe the things that people say that are in my orbit, like people that I trust, people that I'm bonded with, people so on. I mean, I ain't gonna believe the man on the street and he come up here and say some stuff, and I'm gonna make life choices and decisions based on what the stranger got to say or somebody an associate have to say. But when you got somebody you know and you trust and you're bonded with it, you trust them, and I bet on black. And I'm not even a gambling woman. So when this man went astray and started acting a damn fool, I'm believing that he is who he told me he was. He believed what he said he believed. He just lost his way. And people lose their way, but they get found. You call on the people that know him and love him and know what they believed in and know what they intended to do in this lifetime when you see them going astray, and you're trying to gather everybody up so they can bring the boy back to center. But that's not what happened in my case, because I was trying to get the boy back to center. He wasn't acting right, and I ain't know what else to do. So I called on the people he knew, the people that loved him. But I guess they knew him better than I did, because I thought he got to the promised land and got lost. And all he needed to do is be brought back to center. People needed to just remind him of who he was, where he came from, what he believed in, and so forth and so on. But clearly, no one except me, like a darn fool, believed that he had more depth to his character than what he was portraying. I thought he was not who he was. I thought his character was better than his actions. But what I found out is his actions was his character. He had all the depth of character that I thought he had. But when I met the man, he looked confident, secure. It looked like he knew where he's going and what he wanted to do with his life. But the only thing about once you reflect on everything, you look back, the only thing he thought about is what he wanted to do at 40. He wanted to be a millionaire before he reached the age of 40. That's what he wanted. He ain't never talking about how he wanted his kids to be educated, how he wanted what experiences he wanted his children to have. I can tell you all of that. I can tell you all what I wanted my children to have, the experience I wanted to have, who I wanted them to be exposed to, how I wanted them to spend their summers, how I wanted them to be educated, all that. I can go on about that. You know, I wanted the kids to be growing up in private school, so I thought about it, and I knew about it. And I thought he was on the same page too. Thought he had a plan for his family. But clearly, it was something that I wasn't aware of. I guess them people in the South think differently. I guess they think you just supposed to go with the flow. No matter what's going down, you just follow the crowd. Maybe that's a Southern thing. See, maybe this is the North meets the South. You know, because I grew up in the North. He grew up in the South. He was born in the North, but raised in the South. I was born in the South, raised in the North. You were born in Philadelphia, raised in South Carolina. I was born in South Carolina, raised in Philadelphia, Detroit. And you, and so maybe this was a North meets the South thing. Because you know back then and back in the South, you know, those people, I guess they expect their rights and privileges to be traipsed upon. And all you do is keep your head down and go with the flow. So when somebody don't do that, well, something wrong with them. You gotta lock them up. They crazy if something, you know. I don't know what's wrong with the people, you know. But I just know, like, I wasn't thinking about. I didn't think like them. They go about this situation where their heads are. You know what I was getting ready to say, but it was something about the people, and they think differently in the North and the South. Well, anyway, I guess when it's getting bedtime, it's time for me to go to sleep. I guess it's time for y'all to go to sleep. I hope y'all had a good day. And please don't worry about me. I'm fine. I like to talk about these things to you all. To me, I don't even think about this stuff. This stuff is not on my mind. My head is clear. Like I said, I came out on the other side. But I can't help but this is my life. This is my life story. All this stuff that I done went through. When you think about your kids, I can't help but think about the stuff that went down. Because it did. It's not like I got a whole bunch of anniversaries and Christmases and birthdays. I got a few to think about. But when you think about those things, that's sad. Because, you know, that was y'all were just babies. You ought to think about the time it was when this was the 911. All the 9/11 stuff. Y'all were just babies. Terrence, you were just 2. You were barely 2. You were born in August 99, and all this happened in September 2001. So you were barely 2. Q, you were 4. You were good 4. You're like 4.5 because you knew you were born 97, and then all, like I say, happened in 2001. So y'all were just babies. And if you can't put it in perspective, next time you walking down the street and in the stores or wherever you go, look at them kids that are 2 years old. And look at those kids that are 4 years old. Those kids are trusting. They trust those people that they know. They want to be with those people. They trust them. They believe everything they tell them. Because that's what kids do. They're trusting. And now when you're not supposed to exploit that. You're supposed to build on that trust. You're supposed to allow them to trust you. You're supposed to make yourself somebody that they can trust. You're supposed to be dependable to them. You don't just take those kids and blow up their world, blow up their trust, and then now what you gonna think? I mean, you're 2 and 4, and then your daddy got your paperwork in court already destroying the family. Y'all don't even know what's going on because you're too weak. Your little bitty things. You're trusting and believing, getting tucked in at night, reading bedtime stories, all of that. But then meanwhile, your paperwork is in court so that the life that you know is going to be changed forever. Just like this country was changed forever on that 911 tragedy. But guess what? The country made a difference. When all this happened with the country, people did all kinds of things to make sure that this will never happen again. And we're all the better for it. All the services, the United States, they come together, and instead of having bits and pieces of information from all the different people that do all the investigations and collect the intelligence and stuff, all this in different places, now they got Homeland Security. Now all the information come to one place, and then they can analyze all the information. There's a lot of good stuff that came out of that after that 911 tragedy. We're a better country for it. We're a stronger country for it. And not only that, guess what? People pulled together. You had people going through all kinds of stuff. They show their heroes, them first responders and stuff. They tell about them all the time. Running up those stairs to rescue and save people they don't even know. And now you got people in the room together in the dark, in the dusty place, reaching out, helping each other. People they don't even know. But they pulled together and they work together. But what happens at the family level? This is the country all blown up. But here you got at the family level, when you got tragedy like this, your family getting blown up. Where's all the help? You got what? Child Protective Services. They're biased. Those people were biased all kinds of ways. You got Elizabeth Singleton over here crying and acting like a victim and boo-hooing. They got their mouth poked out because they got issues with the way things went down. And now they crying to the judge, and then Child Protective Services get involved, and so they biased. They out here looking at Elizabeth and feeling sorry for the grandmother because she lost her son, the MD. Everybody want to put the man up on the pedestal because he got a title and initials behind his name. Why don't they, but just like they put him up on the pedestal, why don't they require him to behave himself? Why don't they require him to act like somebody who got some good sense to defend that he got to sign the oath and sign on that line to defend the values that make this nation great? But meanwhile, you out there destroying your family, destroying your young, destroying your own children. So why, like I say, I think this country, we act like we talking out two sides of we're double talking out two sides of our mouths. You got the nation, and you treat them one way, you're supposed to act this way, and everybody supposed to rise up in arms and save the nation. But when the family is out here in the same situation, getting blown up, putting values and bastardizing the whole family unit and stuff, and everything it stands for and believe it, but you just supposed to go with the flow. I'm supposed to go with the flow. I don't know how to do that when you're talking about my young. You know, that's and I was on the same page as far as how we was going to raise our kids and all that. I saw the nurture the admonition of the Lord and treat them, raise them to be, follow the path, build them up, but not to tear them down, not to have them in two homes, two churches, two toothbrushes. That was never the plan. And if I never would have propagated with a man who wanted to go ahead and let the judges make decisions about his children, that's not for me. So I don't know what you boys are going to do when it comes time for you to propagate and make families and stuff. I'd rather you just not have kids. And heck, if I had known what I was getting into, I would have rather not have kids. But you see, that's the double standard. You just don't know. It's not like you got a parallel journey and you can do this, do this, and see how things will turn out. And if that's not the way you want it, you come back and then do it again. Life is not a do. You don't get a do-over in life. Life is, and these people talk about starting over. The man 40 years old with 2 kids in nursery school, talk about he gonna start over. Where does that come from? You can't start over. What you gonna do, shove them kids back where they came from? You can't start over. What you can do, life is a continuum. So you either gonna be building stuff up or you're gonna be tearing stuff down. But you're not gonna be starting over. Why can't you spend 30 years and educate yourself and you can't figure that out? I don't even understand. It just boggles my mind the way people get these things. when they come up with these ideas. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm twisted because, like I say, I didn't realize how screwed up people are and how inclined they are to just go back on their word until I watch these reality shows. Because look, this is what I'm talking about. When I met Reggie, and I don't even think we were talking about marriage at that time. We were just talking, just having conversation. It was just, we wasn't even like engaged or anything at that point. But we're talking about something. Reggie talking about something. I don't believe in divorce. He said, I don't believe in divorce. He said, and nobody in my family ever been divorced. And my mom and them had married, my grandparents, well, nobody in my family ever been divorced, so I don't believe in it. Now, you see, to me, that word believe is different from the word I don't want. I don't want to be divorced. Nobody in my family ever been divorced. I don't want to ever go through a divorce. See, that's different. And so the man changed my mind when he started talking about something. I don't believe in divorce. Or when he decided that he wanted to pursue a relationship and move forward and all that. And when he telling me he don't believe in divorce, that gave me the opportunity to even think about it. Because I had already dismissed myself from getting married and having kids. I had already decided because I made that decision. Because I won't, once you got your career and you established yourself and you finished with school and stuff, I was thinking about whether, just going ahead and having a baby out of wedlock. Stranger in the rain kind of scenario. Meet the man, take him to the hotel, and go on out here and have a baby. Don't even know. Kids grow up and say, who my daddy? I don't know, baby. I was just a stranger in the rain. And then you talk about, well, maybe a friend, somebody I know. Well, you talk about that too. But nah, I don't want that either. Because the thing is, I didn't want my kids to be born wanting. When you have kids out of wedlock, especially by choice, you choosing to have kids born wanting and needing. So now your kids gonna want to know who their daddy is, and they gonna need their daddy. And so why am I gonna choose that for my young? So I decided not to, and I was fine with that, just going out dating, have fun, and all that other kind of stuff. But this man come along with all this stuff, talking about something I don't believe in divorce. Well, see, then I started thinking, okay, well, that he seemed good, he seemed interested. Well, maybe we can have something together, and then move forward with this because he ain't believe in divorce. And guess what? This is where I see it. See, like I said, I'm a visual person. Now, if you tell me you don't believe in voodoo, and then I come home and see you sticking pins in a doll, that look like me, in one of two things. You either lied about not believing in voodoo, or you didn't change your mind. Now you believe in voodoo. Same thing here. We don't believe in witchcraft. And I come home seeing you standing over the stove, stirring a big bubbling pot of brew, mumbling some stuff. Well, guess what? You either lied about not believing in witchcraft or you changed your mind. Well, same thing with divorce. It ain't no different. You tell me you don't believe in divorce, and then all of a sudden, every time I turn around, every time you don't get your way, I'm taking you to divorce court. It was a threat every year about going to the divorce court, and that's the last thing I want. Even when I was pregnant, the man would tell me he gonna take me to divorce court. Q wasn't even it was the first of the year. I remember that. It was the first of the year. Q wasn't even a year yet. Brand new year, so that would have been a 1998 coming in, and I was pregnant at the time. And boy, talking about going to divorce me because I turned in my paper. They were giving a $15,000 bonus to captains if you resign your commission. I guess it was overstrength or something like that. So I turned in my paper without talking to him because the people told me that day I need to do it. And he was all the way up in Heidelberg somewhere. I was going to meet him there that night. And so once I got to Heidelberg, I told him what I'd done. And they gonna give $15,000, Ranch. No, you better call them people and get your paper back Monday. If you don't, I'm going to divorce court. And I'm so stupid. See, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm stupid. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I got this kid right here. This one, he's not in a year yet. And I'm pregnant. So I get out the army, the man divorcing me. So where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Who going to hire me? I can get a job right now, but then when I get pregnant and start showing, and then I go out to have the baby, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills and stuff like that? See how stupid don't even know why I was thinking like that. I never even thought about what they call it, child support. I never thought about the welfare. I never thought about anything. I'm just thinking about me. How am I going to provide for my kids if this man divorced me with this little one right here, and then I'm pregnant? So it was stupid, but anyway, so on Monday or whatever, Monday came, I went ahead, called the people back, and told them I'm not going to resign. I'm staying in. So that's the way it was. That was just a situation. And I ended up losing that baby. That was one we lost when I was somewhere. I don't even remember where I was. It was someplace cold, and I was doing some kind of training, and I lost the baby. Had that miscarriage. But you know, life goes on. You move on from that. And then we had the other one a year later, something like that, with Terrence. Terrence came early, ended up in the German hospital. But then you move on. But so you go through all these things, and you just wonder where, you know, you just wish things had worked out better, because the children deserve better than that. They they went through all this. Terrence was a fighter. He bore at 27 weeks. Spent that time in the German hospital, like, what, 2 months? So that was a situation, too. I ain't just going that. Boy went to a conference in the United States, Reggie did. And Terrence was in the hospital in a lounge stool, which is like, what, an hour and a half, 2 hours from where we were living in Kensington. And so Terrence was in the hospital. I was with Terrence. I went and picked Reggie up from the airport, and he made me drive all the way back home to Kensington to bring his black derriere all the way back home, instead of coming to the hospital with me, spending some time with Terrence, taking a nap there, and then I bring him home. But in the pouring rain, my dad was there. My mom and dad was visiting us in Germany at the time. And my dad was like, I never would have put my wife through anything like that. I never would have made my wife. But I went and brought him all the way home, that hour and a half, 2 hours, wherever the distance is from Frankfurt to Kensington. Brought him back to home in that pouring rain. And then I turned around and went right on back, because I wanted to be there at the hospital for Terrence, because Terrence needed to, you know, you stay in the room with your kid, and you feed him, and you change him, and you do all the stuff so you can take care of him. You know, nurses are there, they there to do that too, but it's nothing like staying in the room and taking care of your baby when he in the hospital sick. And he not only, he had pneumonia at the time, and he had surgeries that he needed on his little private area and stuff like that. So he was in the right place. He needed to go to Landstuhl. Reggie wanted me to bring him to that community hospital, where was that? Oh, it was the combat support hospital. That's where we worked. And I was the most experienced nurse in that hospital. The last thing I want to do is bring my baby that's sick with pneumonia in that hospital where he needed to be stuck with IVs and all these other. And when normally in that hospital, when these babies need IVs and they heart sick, they call me. They asked me to come down there, because, you know, I had my experience in the level 3 NICU, both in San Antonio and in Killeen, in Darnell. And so they be calling me right there at the Combat Support Hospital to go stick them babies. So now my baby's sick. My baby need help. And so I'm not going to that Combat Support Hospital, let these little nurses be trying to, you know, use my baby as a pincushion. Can you do it, Captain Singer? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be sticking my baby because y'all can't. I'm bringing him to Landstuhl. I'm bringing him to the level 3. But see, you know, I got chastised. Chastised for that, you know. So, you know, I just bring all this stuff out because it's history. It's my life. I've been through this. And like I told you, with them boys on their feet and putting them shoes on the boys' feet, on the lady who did the quilt that I talked to you about earlier. I don't want to repeat it. You guys just done a video or something like that. I don't know. But I'm going to close this because they're coming up to an end. I don't want to try to make them longer than 30 minutes. I mean, trying to make them 20, and then I end up going 10 over. But look, to me, I see that the same as the time when I stayed in that backyard, because like they say, these kids were going through this circumstance, and I wasn't going to go home and watch TV, close the door, and enjoy my day when I know my kids are going through this situation, and who knows how it's going to end. I want to be as close to my kids as possible. So I took up residence in the backyard in that playhouse. It was a kid's playhouse I took up residence in. Now, if the lady doing my quilt, and then she trying to say, they want to tell my story, they would change the kid's playhouse. And the reason I did that, because that's the only house Reggie ever purchased for his family. Reggie never bought a house for us. He took me out of a 4-bedroom, two bathroom, custom built home that I had in San Antonio before I met him, fully furnished. And he put me in rental property since then. But anyway, so I took a residence in that playhouse. And if the lady doing the quilt, when they or somebody telling my story, they'll say, "Well, she got dragged out of the what they call it, the guest house that was in the backyard. She took up residence in the guest house, and they dragged her out of there. Or she took up residence in the mother-in-law suite that was in the backyard, and she got dragged. Or they won't even use the word drag. They'll say she left. She left the playhouse. I mean, not she left. She left the mother-in-law suite, or she left the guest house, and she left those kids. She abandoned the children. That's what they would say. She left and abandoned. I ain't never left my kids. I ain't never abandoned my kids. You know, my dad used to send us to the dictionary or an encyclopedia when we were young to look up words to make sure we know what we're talking about. And we were running into them kids in elementary school and middle school, and they calling your names and stuff. You don't have to get offended because you know what the word means, and you know they ain't using it properly. What they say, the truth hurt. They call you an ugly name. You know what it means. That's not you. So don't even worry about it. Same thing here. These people go out here and use the word she left. She abandoned. I ain't never left my kids. In fact, in that backyard, in that 415 Arapahoe, I never got up. The people dragged me out of their house. D-R-A-G. If you don't know what drag, you don't know the difference between drag and leave or left, look it up. No, your mama ain't never left you. Your mama ain't never left my babies. I got dragged out of the house, and then people use the court system, prostitute court system, to go against this situation and make me look like I'm crazy, and I did. I did. I looked crazy, but you know, I was in spiritual warfare. I was doing what I knew to do. I didn't know what else to do. I used my intellect to try to convince these people and talk to them and tell them to straighten up and fly right. I ain't had no help. What else I'ma do? They did what they did back in the civil rights time. You know, back in the 60s. You protest. You what they call it was like. I don't even remember what it was. They you know, non-violent resistance or something to that effect. You know, they wasn't fighting or they wasn't doing anything, but they were resisting. They were letting people know that they don't agree with what's going on. We need to make a change. And that's all I was trying to do. I couldn't express it at the time. I couldn't articulate. It's like you in the middle of a mental breakdown. You in the middle of what they call it, borderline insanity, and they want you to articulate what you're doing or what's happening to you, or, you know, write a dissertation about it. I couldn't do it, but I knew what I was doing. I knew I wasn't going to go with the flow. I knew I wasn't okay with what was going down, and I knew a change needed to happen. But anyway, so that's the way it is. It's like people bring you to the brink of insanity, and then they leave you to make decisions about what you're supposed to do about this. Okay, now this is what I'm gonna do. So now, what you gonna do? Stand up there and wait for you to make a decision, and then you make a decision. And then everybody got their mouth out. People got their mouth poked out. They won't cry foul, and they won't run to the judge. Cry foul, there's something wrong with her. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Something wrong with y'all. You know, they started it. Anyway, because it's going over, I'm going to go ahead and close. There'll be other times I can make other videos. You know, just to say, just put my words out there. I don't know. Life. Anyway, I was just thinking about that song that they used to sing in elementary school, Life is a Tour. If I spend more time contemplating the lyrics to that song that we sang in middle school, more time contemplating the lyrics to that song than contemplating my neighbor, maybe I would have had a different outlook. Maybe I'd have made some different decisions, but they used to say, oh, life is a toil, and love is a trouble, and beauty will fade, and riches will flee. Oh, pleasure they dwindle, and prices may double. For nothing is that you wish it to be. And it goes on and on. It's a true song. I should have thought more about that little thing in my lyrics. Life is a toil, and love is a trouble. But anyway, I love you, babies. I'm a close off. I'm going to bed. It's after what is it, after midnight? Yes, it was close to midnight when I decided to get on here and tell you all, introduce myself to you. And I just remembered that I hadn't told you my new name, my name, or whatever, how you ever want to say it, my professional name, and gone back to my birth name. And so I think that's important for you to know. Maybe you don't even care, but it's important for you to know. So anyway, well, like I say, at least the information is out there. You know, you can have it or you don't have it. It's just out there. You know, life, it'll never change. My love for you will never change. I'll die loving you. And like I say, I know the feelings aren't mutual, but that doesn't matter to me. It's not your fault. You all were victim of your circumstances. I just hope you can rise above your raising. And the strong arm of the law came out against us. And that'll be another conversation for another time. Because, you know, I couldn't fight the whole law. I tried. But the strong arm of the law was not on our side. And it should have been double talking country. Anyway. Bye-bye. Good night. I'm going to bed. I'm sleepy.